In this video, I'm going to share the most boring, the least sexy, and the most overlooked way that will help you double your sales overnight. And this method is simply building processes. Well, first off, what does that even mean? Well, imagine this. You just got hired as a sales rep. It's your first day on the job and you arrive to work. Naturally, you ask your boss, "What do I do?" Now, imagine if he just tells you, "Figure it out, man." That's not particularly helpful, is it? Well, the truth is, many organizations are doing this one way or another. Here are a few examples. Not having a proven, battle-tested sales script. Instead, you rely on the sales rep to pretty much improvise and make up the questions to ask. Figure out how to overcome objections on their own. Another example is not having an exact workflow on how to organize your pipeline and how to track your numbers. Instead, the rep needs to, once again, figure out this all on their own. Just one more for good measure, not providing any training or call reviews or doing any form of sales coaching at all. Instead, relying on the sales rep to take all the initiative on their own and improving pretty much with no assistance. Whenever you're leaving all of this work to the salesperson and you're telling them to essentially go figure it out, the likelihood of them failing is tenfold. But on the flip side, whenever you provide a proven, repeatable process to do something and you document it, so there's like literally an instruction manual for the sales rep to follow, you make it significantly easier for them to do a good job. As well, since they're no longer confused about what or when or how to do certain things, you save a ton of time. They're not going to bother you or your other company leaders with silly questions that you feel like they should already know the answers to. Nor are they going to spend a ton of time trying to just figure out things that are supposed to be simple all on their own. The only thing that would actually make your life easier than this is if you just hit that like and subscribe button, because that would really help me out and you'd be getting a ton more videos in your notification with awesome content. What are some of the processes that I think are absolutely required? The first one I would say is to build a really great onboarding program. You can see my onboarding program here in this software called Process Street actually. It essentially teaches our reps all about our company and our internal systems. So an example would be they come in and they learn all about our customer psychology. What do our customers struggle with? What are their goals, their dreams, their fears? Of course, we also want to teach our sales reps about our offerings. If they don't know deeply about our offer and about the value that our offers can provide to the world, then how are they going to sell it? As well, more specific systems such as, what do you do to generate leads when you're emailing? What do you do to generate leads when you're on the phone? The exact scripts, the exact follow-up processes, everything down to the individual step-by-step. All of this has been documented and put directly into a platform that our reps can learn from and onboard right when they start working with. You also want to have really great software setups, because I use tools for everything. I'm a tech-centric entrepreneur. And whether it be having a CRM to organize my pipeline or automation tools in order to send out campaigns on email or LinkedIn, of course, to generate as many meetings as possible. Of course, my reps are the ones who are primarily using these software. So having step-by-step instructions on how they can actually use these softwares on the day-to-day, step-by-step, is really important as well. Now, one more thing that I'm going to mention is management protocols. Have you systemized the way in which you actually lead your team? For me, I use daily sales huddles in order to make sure all my reps are on the same page. Weekly one-on-ones in order to review the calls with the reps so that they know where to improve, and even practicing role play so they can manage certain objections better, or even just deal with situations that come up when they're talking to prospects. All of this stuff, when systematized, will improve your team's overall performance. Now, all of this is repeatable. And when you can build these as a process into your organization, you're going to see your results really dramatically improve. Now, when do you want to build this process? Ideally, you actually do it before you hire, because you don't want to fall into the situation that I mentioned before where you hire someone, they ask you what they need to do every day, and you don't know what to tell them. So instead, build these processes in advance of your first hire, and by the time they arrive, they know exactly what to do, and you're much more likely to have them ramp up quickly and have them be very happy since they're generating results immediately after they're hired. The next question is, how do you build a process? Well, the truth is sometimes you do have to take one step back in order to take multiple steps forward. And I say this because sometimes building a process can be manual, it can be slow, it can be even boring. But if you do it correctly, it can make massive differences in your organization. So the way that I do it is actually yourself go through the motions of executing on a specific activity or a specific task. Maybe this is talking with a prospect on a sales call, or maybe this is how you're tracking your numbers in your CRM or following up. But as you do it, document all of those individual nuances that you're doing. Build them into your standard operating procedure, your SOP. And this really requires a certain level of mindfulness because now you really need to pay attention to every incremental activity that you're doing. This is something that you might have never done before because oftentimes as entrepreneurs, we are ourselves like improvising. We're making things up as we're going along. And because it's just in our minds, the processes have always just been something that we have gotten used to via muscle memory. But as you're building this into documentation, you're now needing to put pen to paper, something that might have actually always just been in your head. So it's an interesting thing that you need to do, but as you do this, it's gonna make your life a lot easier. Now, where do you document this? It can be as simple as Google Docs or spreadsheets, but you can even use more specialized tools such as Trello or Process Street or Asana. I've used actually many more than just those, but those are some that I've actually seen some pretty good usage out of. By the end of this, you're gonna have a step-by-step instruction manual for all of the important tasks. And what I like to do is train a salesperson or any employee for that matter on that documentation, but I'll actually record a video of us going through this training together, probably using Zoom. And because I now have a recorded video training of me explaining all of this documentation for the employee, I can now keep this video recording and save it directly back into the documentation so that future employees can watch it. And now they have both written documentation and they have video and audio, which makes learning a lot easier. So I really love to do this. It allows the training process to now be built into like an evergreen learning platform. And that way, all of your future employees are going to be able to onboard significantly easier. And here's another really beautiful thing. Once you start hiring and you start training some of these employees, it's inevitable that these employees will eventually even take over these departments or these functions. For example, a closer will take over closing deals. A setter will take over booking meetings. So if they are spending more time than you are with those tasks, inevitably they're gonna start improving the process because they're gonna notice, oh, I can do this to make things faster. Oh, I can do that to make things more efficient. As they are improving processes themselves, they'll be actually documenting all the things that they did to improve the process. So your standard operating procedure will actually be improved by your employees, and even the documentation will be then taken over by your employees. So the process of creating processes is now built into a process that you've delegated. Now, some of you are going to probably have this question. Lloyd, if I'm still improvising everything myself as the solopreneur, I don't even know what to be documenting into this process. And in this situation, I hate to break it to you, who am I kidding? I don't hate to break this to you at all, because you need to know this. This is a wake-up call. If you're still improvising everything you're doing yourself as the founder or as a sales leader, your business will not scale. You'll most likely just get stuck making 10 or 20K a month, and mostly you're getting by just on luck or trading time for money. But if you want to scale a business, it's all about making something work consistently and repeatably. And that requires these systems that I'm talking about. So my challenge to you is make all of the different core functions in your business running off of a step-by-step process. So in sales, that would of course be your lead generation, your closing, your tracking and follow-up, but it expands to the other elements of your business as well. Customer fulfillment, do you have step-by-step processes for that? Your tracking of finances, do you have processes for that? When you can build out all of your systems across your entire organization to be more efficient and more effective, that's gonna have a massive impact into your bottom line. So overall, I've helped over 120 companies do this exact thing, whether it be consulting firms or agencies or software businesses. So if you want to improve your sales and your growth and your overall efficiency, let's potentially work together. Book a meeting with me in the description link below and we can chat. And by the way, I have a ton more videos just like this that's going to help you make your organization more profitable. So if you haven't checked them out, do that right now. Cheers.